Okay, so Kingdom Ultra Magnus was just announced, and I'm half and half. I'm excited because we're getting a new Ultra Magnus figure, but at the same time, I'm also thinking maybe this is just the same old stuff. But let's take a look at what might actually be different with this Kingdom Ultra Magnus compared to his Siege Ultra Magnus version, because that one was good, but I still had some complaints with it, personally, as an Ultra Magnus collector. Let's see what the similarities and differences are, okay? Okay, so it's helpful to what we're looking at. I've adjusted the image of Ultra Magnus and I've skewed it so that we're looking at the box art as closely as possible. Now, it's not the best quality because this is not even the reveal photo. We're still probably a few days away from actually getting an official reveal of Ultra Magnus. But we're basically just speculating off of what we've seen so far. Okay, so let's talk about the easiest thing. It'll get progressively harder to look at stuff as we move along. So let's take a look at what we see in the box art. Okay, so I'm comparing Ultra Magnus here to his Siege version. And it looks like we're getting a smoother head sculpt that's a little more G1 accurate. Even more so than the Siege version. I mean, in the box art, it looks like it's the visor version, where it's like he's wearing lenses. But I feel like in the actual figure, it's still, just a regular Autobot face. Let's talk about the chest plate. So the chest plate is what actually kind of gave it away for me that I was looking at a Siege retool, because of that folded in section right there, where you see the hinge below. It's not 100% the same as the Siege one, but I can kind of tell that it was retooled. It's a lot smoother and a lot more G1 animation accurate than what we got in the Siege toy line, which was a lot closer to the G1 toy, in terms of the sculpt anyway. So here we've got a lot more of a geometric boxy type look. Square frames on the blues. And we got that red, like, diagonal line thing going on. It looks like we're getting thicker shoulder stacks, and they are apparently cleaner. We can't like super see it, but they look like they're cleaner than the Siege version. So we're getting those little pegs on top, and they're going to be blue, unlike the full-on white that we got with the Siege version. And the shoulders look smoother, so we don't have the 3 ridges anymore. The under part of the arms look pretty much the same as the Siege version. And that's pretty much all we can tell from the actual toy in the box, because we can only see basically the bust area. I'm gonna go to the next easiest thing to spot differences in, which is the cab section. So if I look at the cab section here, this particular section, it looks like there's gonna be a lot of new engineering here, and I'm a little scared that that black section might be a gap. Because, so these box art pieces tend to be accurate to the actual toy, and that looks like it might be a gap there. Reason for that being, I feel like they're not gonna be doing it 100% like this. I feel like that cab section is going to change. They're going to probably do a little bit of new engineering. So it's not just going to be a straight up retool where everything's just smoothed out, because that's what we all assumed when we first saw this. But there's going to be some new engineering in the front of the cab, maybe to allow it to fold on itself, because otherwise he's going to have a giant box like look, just like the G1 toy. And even in the Siege version, the cab has this, sloping sides, so it's not like one whole square. So that's probably going to be something that we're going to be seeing. As far as the arms and the legs are concerned, I feel like we might be getting the exact same from the Siege cab. because that's what I'm seeing, really. From looking at it from the side, it's exactly the Siege toy. What worries me about this is that they are probably not going to fix the arm, or the hand rather, on Ultra Magnus. There's a way you can do that with this engineering. I mean, I know I'm not a toy designer exactly, but the toy is designed in such a way that if they had put a little more into it, they could have folded in the wrists rather, so that they're not sticking out in the solo cab mode. And as far as I can tell from this, if we're getting the same legs as Siege Ultra Magnus, the cab at least, it's probably going to have the feet sticking up like that while in cab mode as well. So those are the two things I wish they could have fixed, because, you know, that's two of my biggest complaints with a Siege cab. It's that the feet and the hands are visible. Now, one other dead giveaway that this is gonna be the exact same hands is the smokestacks. Smokestacks are on the very back section, where when you swing them out, they'll be in the shoulders of Ultra Magnus in white robot mode, or naked mode, whatever you want to call it. I'm taking a look at the trailer. It looks like he's gonna be keeping, I feel like, the top section of the Siege Ultra Magnus trailer, if you can call it that. It is a trailer technically, but the sides look like they'll be different. I don't know how much more they'll be different, but looking at the robot in the art, that's pretty much the same legs, but with slight different paint scheme. Like, there's white on the sides. What worries me about this is it's not going to be a functional car carrier again. So this is essentially what they did for Galaxy Prime and for Ultra Magnus, wherein it's one whole chunk, and you can't really put anything in there. Not even a core class or a Legends class. Essentially, it's not a functional car carrier. And I feel like that's what we're getting, because now I'm looking at the robot in the box art, and that's pretty much the exact same front of the feet. What's probably going to differ, just like in the Galaxy Prime toy and the Siege Ultra Magnus toy, is you're gonna have a different set of panels here, and that's probably going to more closely depict what it looks like in the G1 toy and cartoon, I suppose. Just like this version is more like the Robots in Disguise version, but this one is going to be more the G1 toy and cartoon. But it's not going to function. It's just going to be one whole piece. You can put cars on top, but not inside. I'm glad though that we're getting rid of these guns, because these guns are actually based off of the original Galaxy upgrade, Cybertron leader Optimus Prime. Those were what those guns are based off. They're not really Ultra Magnuses. So we're getting a little more of an Ultra Magnus gun here, and it looks like from what I'm seeing here, we're only getting one blaster, one white blaster, and that's it, and it's going to plug onto this back section. But overall, I will still be getting this. You know what really makes these trucks anyway is the cab, and it looks like a different enough cab, and it will gel enough with, you know, I'm looking at Siege and Earthrise Optimus Prime, and it looks like it's gonna go great with those. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And yes, it does not have a red bumper in front, but it looks like they're going to go with silver with an Autobot logo. I'm okay with that because I have the KBB KO of the Perfect Effect version, so I'm fine with that. Getting a silver bumper this time is not a deal breaker for me. Oh, one more thing that I noticed is I'm not seeing shoulder missiles anywhere. I'm not seeing it on the alt mode. I'm not seeing it on the box art for the bot mode. I'm not seeing it inside the box. So I'm not sure if we're getting missiles. Did we drop the ball here somewhere, or did we just not include it in the box art? I hope that's the case. So there's a lot of speculation now that Ultra Magnus will be returning in Kingdom because we're getting this figure, but keep in mind, Galaxy Prime did not appear in Siege at all. So this could just be a toy thing. But X, he was in the big key art for Kingdom. Yeah, but that's essentially for the toy line itself. That's basically presenting all of the characters that are going to be in the Kingdom toy line. So I'm not too convinced that this is for the series, but if Ultra Magnus does show back up, yay, no problem with me. But let's talk about the fact that this Ultra Magnus and the Ultra Magnus that we're seeing for the toy are two different designs as well. So as you can see here, you don't have the bottom frame for the blue, and you don't have the... It's entirely different. This looks actually a lot more like the Masterpiece Ultra Magnus than it does the Kingdom Ultra Magnus. In fact, those legs are entirely new. It's more of a Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. So there's a possibility that maybe, and I don't know if this is gonna happen, and it's probably not going to happen, but I am holding on to wishful thinking, that we're gonna get a Studio Series Ultra Magnus that looks like the one in the key art. That's what I want to happen. And I'm an Ultra Magnus fan, so I don't mind like getting multiples of him. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, like I said, because this Kingdom Ultra Magnus is not gonna pass for a Studio Series Ultra Magnus at all. No, it's not. But that Ultra Magnus that we're seeing there in the key art, if they are able to pull it off and make it a little bit like the Masterpiece version and stick it in the Studio Series line, then that would make a lot of people happy. Because like a lot of folks have pointed out while I was discussing this on Twitter and Facebook with a lot of you guys, there has not been there have not been many functional car carriers of Ultra Magnus in the past few years. There's only been G1 and Combiner Wars, and that's pretty much it. But I would love a genuine car carrier Ultra Magnus in the Chug line. So really, that's pretty much all there is to this. It looks like whatever hollow pieces used to be there would still be the same. There's not a lot of differences in terms of the trailer, but there's gonna be new engineering in front of the cab, and it's a lot smoother look for Ultra Magnus, which it's fine. This reminds me of when I was researching Titan's Return Blur and how it kept getting retooled into various versions of him. And I'm okay with that. I'm still gonna get it. And I'm excited that we're getting an Ultra Magnus figure that's not overly designed. But don't get me wrong, I like this. I like this Siege Ultra Magnus very much, despite my many complaints about it. But yeah, like I said, I would definitely love a smoother take on it as well. That's about all my thoughts for Ultra Magnus. And you might be wondering why I did not cover Huffer, and I'm probably gonna get Huffer, why I didn't cover all the other toys. It's because I don't feel like I have the knowledge for those, but I would like to hear what you guys are excited about. Personally, I'm excited for Ultra Magnus because it's probably going to end up in my collection. No, it's not probably going to end up in my collection. It's 100% gonna end up in my collection. What am I talking about? And yes, I am very much excited to at least have something that looks different from up front, because if you see my cab collection, all the cabs are like lined up in squares and they all look mildly different from each other. So that's the thing that I'm most excited for. I know that's weird, but yeah, thank you so much for joining me today to talking about the new Kingdom Ultra Magnus. Till next time, peace out.